The Roswell mansion has been attacked by some Kendall Jenner doppelganger. Or, wait, is it Kendall? Or do I mean Kylie? Caitlyn?
This is the third time this month the Kardashian attacked our mansion.
Do you think they're looking for Rob?
No one's looking for Rob. Arara, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the Jester Prince.
It's been 4 years since season 1 of ReZero. 4 years. I got so tired of waiting that I got a BA in paralegal studies. Cum laude. I even spoke at graduation, got a picture with the dean. All over Zoom. Yikes. The second ReZero came back, I took my degree and threw that son of a bitch in the trash. Don't need that anymore. You know, a while ago, a great Anituber posed the question, what if ReZero didn't have a point? With respect to them, I have no choice but to disagree. Since then, more videos have appeared that argue that ReZero did have a point. Now, I don't necessarily think that entertainment needs to have a point other than to, well, be entertaining, but since the series is one of my favorites and the only anime I'm watching this season besides Rent-A-Girlfriend, shameless self-promotion, I want to throw my hat into the ring as to why I think ReZero not only has an underlying meaning, but more so a deeper self-reflection than other anime in a similar vein. But before we get started, you might be asking, Jester, the most important question is, Rem or Amelia? To that I say neither. Elsa fan for life. I don't know what that says about me. Do I have mature tastes, or do I get off on being afraid? Some may argue, in the life of a fanboy, there is no difference. I like Rem just fine, but if you're a dude who prefers a woman like that, then I have a few questions to kick off this little self-introspection journey that we have begun. Are you looking for a relationship, or just a doormat that you can stick your dick in? Do you actually want a partner in life, or a subservient being to treat you like the special little boy that your mother always told you that you were? Just kidding. Of course, if you're going to stick your dicks in the anime pillows where they belong, and not to diss pillow fuckers, cause shoot, if I spend $70 on a pillowcase, I would probably want to fuck it too. It's just, if I'm spending the night at your place, I would prefer a virgin pillow. I don't want to be trying to go to bed and be like, what the? Is this pillow made out of concrete? I know a lot of y'all are watching this and thinking, what does pillow fucking have to do with ReZero? And let me tell you, if you're feeling like that at this point, you should probably click off of this video now. Now, I respect Rem a whole lot. She's out there being a bamf, killing an army of dog demons with her morning star, you know, practicing proper social distancing procedures. She's out there like,
Are you insane like me? Been in pain like me? Bought a $100 bottle of champagne like me? Just to pour that motherfucker down the drain like me?
Subaru doesn't love Rem though, does he? He loves Amelia. That's a strong woman right there. The make you earn it type of strong. Like she's scary, but in the correct way. I hope she becomes the ruler, man. I really do. I can't help but wonder what it must be like for a woman to hold office in that world though. Like, does the king or queen or whatever get blamed for all the crazy shit that happens in the world like the leaders of our world do? People be on whatever the fantasy equivalent of cable news saying how the Great Whale Attack was an inside job or how whale fat can't melt steel beams. What's interesting is, during my rewatch, I realized all the 5 candidates for the position represent different styles of government. We've got Crush being the fascist military dictator, talking about how Subaru asking for her help is the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals. Felt is over here being a Lolita Bernie Sanders, trying to rage against the machine, but she really should start with the one that hemmed that. Then we've got Priscilla being the monarch, trying to get Subaru to suck her feet, and when he does it, she acts all disgusted. I tell you that in terms of degrading foot-related acts, that's minor league shit. It's like she's playing single A, expecting to have the upper hand, only to find out Subaru's like the Derek Jeter of foot fetishes. Or, you know, just Derek Jeter. And then there's Anastasia, the capitalist with an army of cats who loves cheeseburgers and cream. And cream being the economic and political idea of cash rules everything around me. A system first proposed by the famous political scientists and economists, the RZA, the Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard, Raekwon the Chef, Ghostface Killer, Inspector Deck, You God, Master Killer, and MATHOD Man. And Amelia, the Barack Obama of ReZero, a candidate that was never radical and preached love and unity above all else, but was deemed a dictator in the making just because their skin was different. A big reason I love this show is that in this fantasy land they have 5 people campaigning for leader, all of them women. I love that. I hope that we'll be able to see something similar in the US. I really do. I would love a woman president because, fellow men, it's about time that we give them a chance to fuck things up for once. Look, I think the job is going to be difficult no matter how you pee. That's all I'm saying. But why stop there? I want an all-female cabinet. That would be amazing, because inevitably some crisis is going to happen, as crises have a tendency to do, but we wouldn't have to worry about it at all. The second shit goes down, an all-female cabinet would just sit in silence in the situation room for a second, kinda just eyeing each other up and down. Then Madam President opens her mouth and says, "Let's not tell the Met about this, because they'll never let us live this shit down." And I don't want any of you anime avatars with your made-up names misinterpreting what I'm saying either. Some of you are in the comments going, "Yeah, I hate women too. They're all stupid bitches who only date assholes. Why won't they love me like I love them?" And I feel like that's the type of person that Subaru is based on. You know, the guys that are all like, "Women would never date a nice guy like me." And if you don't know them personally, then you've smelled them before. Let me tell you this. In my experience, every single person who has said that they were nice was a psychopath. In fact, if ever I was to meet someone who told me they were a complete asshole, I would probably ask them if they wanted to grab a beer.
That's a whole other flag stand and all of them red. Self-purported assholes will literally talk about nothing else except how real they are. If you don't like it, then you were warned. And he isn't going to change for you. The play the devil's advocate. I just want to broaden your perspective, kind of condescending prick.
Who are you?
I'm the Witch Queen. I'm your new supervisor. The higher-ups sent me here to consult on this video. They saw the 100% male viewership the last one received and thought you needed help cultivating a female audience.
So you're my boss now? No one told me anything.
Don't mind me. I'll interject whenever I feel it's necessary. I will say real quick though, girls fuck those pillows too. Needed to say that in case anyone thought any differently. Carry on.
Alright, y'all, I'm about to post up on this here hussy.
Wait! What are you?
I'm that bitch. Been that bitch. Still that bitch. Will forever be that bitch. Real hot girl shit.
I had to spend an evening with the Lord after I saw that episode. Alright, where was I? Wait, what's that, Evan? Towards the middle of page 5, okay. I met someone, yada yada yada, grab a beer, yada yada. Okay, I'll ever see. Got it, okay. Do I just start from there? Cool, okay, thanks, Evan. I love you too? If y'all ever see a guy tell you he's nice, get the fuck out of there, because in the next 7 seconds or so, he's gonna do or say something super fucking crazy. I don't need to tell any of the women watching this. Y'all know this. You know that if you ever meet a guy who tells you that he's a nice person, then he's probably on his 3rd or 4th manifesto right now. He's all meeting her in the locker room every day, saying ominous shit like, "Make sure you don't go to school next Friday." She's looking at his binder next to a picture of Rem, and there's a map of the school with a red line drawn to the path going along the hallways. Oh my god, it ends in my homeroom? He's all telling her about Mr. Anime as his favorite person on AnyTube, that kind of guy. Subaru is a lot like those people. Not to that extreme, but he could have been eventually. We all could be that eventually. Subaru is a character that a lot of fans hate. And you know what? For good reasons. He's loud, weak, sticks his nose in places that he doesn't belong, and has an unhealthy obsession with the woman he has a crush on. He's delusional as he thinks of himself as the hero, but in reality, he's just an insecure idiot who thinks he's more important than he actually is. In short, he's the stereotypical otaku, an honest representation of a lot of people watching this anime. The reason why modern-day isekais are so popular is because, frankly, a lot of us in the anime community feel like losers.
I don't feel like a loser. Or is that my sexualized nerdiness shielding me?
They feel like we never amounted to anything. That we can't find love. That we wasted so much time watching anime that we don't have a social life. And even if we did make time, a lot of us lack the skills to be social in the first place. A lot of otakus feel trapped. That we're doomed to live a meaningless existence for the rest of our lives.
Oh, well, I feel that last part. I mean, I'm here helping you instead of writing that book I keep talking about.
Okay, rude. Obviously that's not everyone. And just because you like anime doesn't mean you're living an unhealthy lifestyle. But to say that this isn't at least a common occurrence would just be willful ignorance. This genre started out as a form of escapism.
I think that is a very broad dismissive statement because I think on some level, Wasn't all entertainment created as escapism?
Yes, but in this case, it's more so. The type of people I just described could easily step into a cookie-cutter protagonist's role and live out the rest of their power fantasy through them. This time, they can be cool and heroic and get all the ladies, and do all the things in this fantasy world that they never could do in the real world. ReZero, however, isn't trying to do that. Instead of coddling its viewers and indulging them in these fantasies, it puts a mirror to them and says, "This is you. You need to stop." To do this, ReZero at first makes itself look very familiar. Main otaku / neat protagonist gets transported into another world. He encounters the first of many women to be added into his ever-growing harem, and then embarks on the journey to save his new home. The first episode of ReZero is dead set on making the viewers think that this is how it's going to play out. In fact, its bright color palette, beautiful backgrounds, and character designs make it look a lot like Sword Art Online, a detail that I doubt is a coincidence. There's a hint of the show's much darker identity in a short, albeit out-of-context clip of gore played at the beginning of the first episode.
I remember this! I thought I had skipped ahead or something! I think I rewound and rewatched a few times before I understood it was intentional!
It was the point, Your Highness. A short preview teasing the audience of what's to come. But with how loud and bright everything else is, it's easy for viewers to end up forgetting about that when they get invested in the episode. But of course, the initial feeling of safety is taken away at the end of the very first episode, as it does the unexpected and kills its main character in an extremely gruesome way, proving that this is going to be something completely different from what the viewers may have expected. Nowadays, most isekai coming out must have some sort of a twist in them for people to care. But back in 2016, ReZero was one of the first to play with the genre's tropes and really define what it could be. But the dark twist of ReZero doesn't exist there solely to be torture porn. It's specifically there to serve the story. And a lot of the plot of ReZero is the story of redemption and personal growth. It asks the question of, what if the stereotypical otaku really got transported into another world? What would their experience be like? How would they really act? And the answer is, they would die almost immediately.
I don't know. I think I could survive? Or does me thinking that way prove your point?
The hardest thing to watch in the series isn't the violence or the gore. It's seeing Subaru be such a jerk to everyone, and clearly doing things out of selfishness instead of love. And to succeed, aka not die horrifically, he must be strong. Not just get stronger, but be strong. Early in the series, Subaru learns that things in this world aren't going to be as easy as he'd want them to be. That just because he thinks he ought to be the center of this new world, he isn't. He can't fight, even though he does have some potential to, and he can't rush into situations without a proper plan. Despite all this, he's not a bad person. He cares for others and would lay down his life if it meant saving someone else. He definitely has potential to be a badass and be a hero, but a lot of the time he holds himself back because of his wrongdoing. He's naive and selfish, he's clouded by his own emotions and unable to see the forest among the trees.
He annoyed the out of me, and that's the reason why I never finished the series!
He also lacks ambition, and probably believes that solely focusing his time and energy on Amelia is what's going to get her to like him. But the fact is that he's so zeroed in on her without having his own life, his own goals, and his own dreams, it's probably the thing that makes him so unattractive to her. Women tend to like guys who have lives outside of them. And I know from first experience and second-hand experience that when a man's only goal in life is to get a girl to like him, then that could very well make that person he's attracted to uncomfortable. Still, he's not malicious. He's sweet. The mansion arc shows this to us time and time again. His and Beatrice's relationship is a sweet brother and sister type of thing. And when Ram and Rem are shown to have feelings of inadequacy towards one another, he helps them work through it. But he has a tendency to run away from his problems, and has to learn that that only makes things worse. But he does learn it. He goes from running away from danger to screaming headfirst into that good night, Wu-Tang! He also learns that he can stop his pretending and find comfort in the people who love him. When I rewatched the scene where Amelia comforts him after he works himself to exhaustion, I couldn't help but be reminded of, "Come to me, all those who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." You don't need to hate yourself all the time. You don't need to apologize to everyone and think of yourself as a burden. You can just tell them thank you for being there for you. We can learn to rely on others, just like Subaru learns to rely on Reinhardt, Crush, Julius, Wilhelm, and Felix. Man, I love Felix. I really hope he's not a closeted racist, though. Felixes tend to be.
Way to out yourself, buddy.
And even though we might feel inferior to others, we don't know their struggles. As far as you know, they might be feeling the same thing about themselves. They think that you're better than them. But the bulk of Subaru's wrongdoing is in the third arc, where we see him at his absolute worst. Because it's no doubt that we see Subaru commit the sin of envy, and that causes his relationship with Amelia to go down the drain. He convinces himself that everything he's doing is for her sake, but in reality, he's only doing it because he's horny.
I don't think he's doing it because he's horny. She becomes an object to him, something to be possessed rather than any sexual desire. An extension of himself rather than her own person.
My father used to tell me that it's better to be thought of as a fool than to open your mouth and prove it. And let me tell you, Subaru opened his mouth wider than Kirby on this one. His outbursts made Amelia look bad, but also angered an entire group of soldiers. All he had to do was apologize, but he couldn't. Pride cometh before the fall, and all of this he says is for love. But let me tell you, a woman does not think that following her when she asks you not to, interrupting her at her very important job interview, and insulting the security officers in front of all of upper management is a very loving thing to do. And when she confronts him about this, he says that everything he's done has been to repay her. Relationships aren't about repaying the other person. It's about being there and communicating your thoughts and feelings in a caring way. He continues to put her on a pedestal as someone who's perfect, but she isn't. As she said, she isn't this great person that he thinks her to be, and just wanted someone to look at her as an equal. And for a second, she thought he could have been that person. The most heartbreaking line in this series, more heartbreaking than any of the deaths or tragedy of this series, is when Amelia tells him, "I had hope for you." Because there's nothing harder to hear than someone telling you that they've given up on you. This part hits harder and closer to home than almost any anime I've ever seen. But in order for Subaru to see how much he needed to grow, he needed to hit rock bottom and lose everything he cared about. It can be hard to confront your own wrongdoings. In fact, it's way easier to submit to your own cognitive dissonance and then double down. It's not me who's wrong, it's everyone else. But true strength and maturity is not how many times you get things right. It's about understanding your flaws, accepting your own imperfections, and confronting them. To recognize your own shortcomings and stop yourself from ever doing them again. Unfortunately, a lot of people only choose to confront the bad parts of themselves when their whole world is taken from them. And if you get anything by watching ReZero, it's that you should be wise enough to stop a problem before it gets out of hand. Talk to people, find counsel, read up on things. Don't be like Subaru. Learn from his mistakes. It's funny because people are always talking about his eyes like it's his most defining trait, but yet he acts blind to everything around him. At one point, a character says, "Think about what you can do to accomplish something, and do it. What can we do to be better? How do we go about doing that? If we aren't moving forward constantly, then we will drown, just like a shark would." Sometimes, it's easy to blame others. It's easy to just quit. But the outcome is the same every time. Subaru tried to run away, to feign madness, and to stick to his prideful guns. But no matter what, people still got hurt. The only way that he was able to come back was to learn and to adapt. One of the other personal things that hit me like a ton of bricks was Subaru's rant to Rem at the top of the building. He looks at his life and realizes that he had all this time and ability to do something and make something of himself, but he didn't. In my own personal experience, I've confronted those feelings for the past several years now. It's hard seeing people younger than me be more successful and have close friends and romantic relationships when I feel stuck in time. Year after year, I'm getting older, yet my life is never getting more fulfilling.
I know! I see all of my high school friends getting engaged, getting married, and baby announcements! I don't begrudge them their happiness, but I am a little sad each time it pops up, because when is it my turn? So far, I have managed to be able to fit 7 mozzarella sticks in my mouth as my crowning achievement.
I do not know what I'm supposed to say to that. You're supposed to help with the female audience? Anyway, what makes Rem's words so powerful is when she says,
If you can't forgive yourself for being empty or having nothing, then let's start right here, right now. From square one. No, from 0.
no matter how low you might think you've fallen, or how stagnant you feel in your life right now, you can always find redemption. There might be a price to pay for that redemption, something that I'm sure will be covered in future videos down the line. But when you fall, you can always brush yourself off and restart. From 0. And no matter what, never think you are undeserving or incapable of receiving love. And if at first you don't succeed, try again. And that, my friends, is the point of ReZero. I warned y'all that this would be a walk.
Wow, Jester! This whole bit has been surprisingly insightful. Do you think anyone is actually going to listen? I'm probably biased, but I am skeptical.
I'm not here to get people to listen, honestly. If someone clicks and feels their opinion of themselves a little swayed by my words and experiences, then it was all worth it. Look, I love this show. I love how even though Subaru has been in this fantasy world for over 6 months now, he still dresses up like he's a member of the incel chapter of the Russian mob. Have you ever noticed that? Like, really, dude? Of all the things that you could wear, you chose to wear that?
A goddamn tracksuit in a fantasy world has me... Ugh.
I got mad respect for him, though. He got rejected in like 37 different timelines, and he kept his spirits up? Rejection is hard, man. It really is. Recently, I received 2 different rejection letters from a job that I only applied to once. It's like after seeing my resume, they went, "We are going to make damn sure he knows he ain't going to get that job." This was supposed to be my hot girl summer.
This was supposed to be all our hot girl summers, Barasu. That crazy vixen in the entirety of 2020 took that away from us.
Men don't handle rejection well. In all honesty, I feel like a lot of Subaru's arc is him learning to accept rejection. A lot of crazy guys out there. Let me reiterate for people, no means no, and that's not the end of the world. A lot of you people are horrible in the opposite way. Yeah, that's right, because a lot of people, you women especially, use being a virgin as an insult. And you know what? That's not okay. Y'all are out here saying things like,
"That guy never touched one boob in his whole life. Oh, hey, mama."
I'm gonna give you the hard truth right now. Your boobs are overrated. They aren't that different than 2 giant zits that one day showed up out of the blue, but instead of going away, they just sag.
Careful, Jester. Your bitterness is showing. Man, we do not body shame around here. That isn't a good way to endear yourself to women. After a certain size, sag is unavoidable, you dick.
Let me tell you, I've been around for a millennia, lived in multiple dimensions, killed demon lords. Never once touched a boob. I was busy. I could touch a boob, or, I could just watch Curb. Maybe I'm a little bitter. And I just figure that if I want to engage my time in a mixture of fatty and glandular tissue, it might as well be the one that created Seinfeld.
What in the world was I even sent here for? Looking at your lineup, I would be way more useful in the next video. I believe I mentioned I haven't even watched this anime.
I am bitter. Thank you to everyone watching this video. This took way longer than I expected, but I'm proud of it. Please leave a like and subscribe to this channel, and comment down below who your favorite ReZero girl is. And if there's an anime that helped you self-reflect and gain inspiration, please let me know what that is in the comments as well. I think that Fruits Basket is next, so hopefully y'all will tune into that, if Her Highness hasn't soured your opinion of me. Also, a huge shout out to the voice actors, Dalfaria, PrippyteeVA, and of course, Slicer02. That's me! What would Hot Girl Meg do?
Ara. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. Well, I mean, there were, but not after I pulled up in here.
Beatrice! Why? What do you want from me?
I need about tree fitty, I suppose.